In a previous video, we talked about this concept of operator overloading. The idea is that Python has these operators. These are built-in symbols, things like, say, plus or the less than symbol, and we can actually apply them to different types, and they mean different things depending upon the types that I apply them to. So if I take two integers and use the plus symbol, well, it's going to add them together like numbers. But if I take two strings and use the plus symbol, well, Python's going to do something different. It's going to glue them together. Similarly, if I take two integers and I compare them, it does one thing. Oh, but if I take two strings and compare them to each other, it actually does something else. So these are examples of overloaded operators that can mean different things depending upon the type that is involved. What I want to do is I want to overload them further. I mean, look, they already support int and string. What's with adding just one more? I want to add a fraction to both plus and, we'll say, less than. How do I do that? Well, let's go look at a class definition. Let's go scroll down a bit. And let's remember that we had these special methods that began and ended with a double underscore. So here we're looking at the initializer. Remember, that's the helper to the constructor function. If I scroll down, I have these double underscore methods for, say, string and for repr, right? This is for object representation. Well, I do the same thing for operators. So if I want to support multiplication, look at this. I've got a special method that begins and ends with double underscores called mult. And if I want to do addition, well, I have another one that's called add that begins and ends with two underscores. Let's go see these in practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import frac2, and now I'm going to make two fractions. So my first fraction is going to be 1/2. If I use the string function, look at that, that is 1/2. Make another fraction, I'm going to do 1/3. Let's set it equal to q. If I use the string function, look at that, that's 1/3. Now, if I wanted to multiply these times each other, we've already seen how to do that. I can just call the method directly. So double underscore mul, double underscore q, and look at that. 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6. But typically, we aren't actually meant to do this. We aren't actually meant to call these double underscore methods directly. They're technically not hidden, but it's sort of gauche to use them. And the reason why is because the reason why they're there is to be a helper for something else. I mean, let's go remind ourselves about the double underscore string method over here. Yes, I could call it directly like this, but that's not the intended behavior. The intended behavior is it's supposed to be a helper for the string function. The same thing is going on with the double underscore mul. I'm really meant to do it like that. Look at that, p times q. And I see that, well, that's 1/6. Addition is exactly the same thing. Yes, I could call it directly if I wanted to, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is that it is a helper for the plus symbol, and now I can add them like normal numbers. And this is great because now I can write really complex formulas. I could say p plus q plus p, and now I can multiply all of that times q. And look at that. That is so much better than doing all of those evil nested method calls. All right, so as I said here, what we're doing here is we're calling these double underscore methods as a helper for the operators. So let's see exactly what is happening inside of the Python tutor. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to define my fraction type. You'll notice that I've simplified it here. We're not going to be doing data encapsulation inside of the Python tutor just to make it easier to see everything. I just have my attributes accessed directly, but I do have my helper double underscore mul and my helper double underscore add. So let's go visualize. I'm going to make a fraction 1/2. There we go. That's a constructor call. The fraction 1/3. That's my constructor call, and now I'm at line 31. And you notice that I have p plus q. I'm going to call this, and look at that, plus knows to call double underscore add as a helper. So what we're going to do is we're going to compute the bottom. The bottom is a common denominator of the two fractions. And then I'm going to add the top using the common denominator. And now from the top and the bottom, I'm going to create a new fraction. So by the way, that calls another initializer here on the call frame stack. And now I have 5/6, and that's my answer. All right, let's try times. If I do times, look at that. It's calling mul as a helper. And there we go. Now what I'm going to do is multiply the top times the bottom. I'm going to make a new fraction 1/6. And there we go. That's my answer. So now I have implemented the operations addition and multiplication. And you can see where we're going with this. Python has a lot of these. It has a lot of these double underscore methods. And essentially, every single thing that we're going to do to add new operators, well, it's just going to introduce ourselves to more and more of these types of methods.